guys, welcome to Gen Z's Jiu-Jitsu Technique of the Week. So what I want to do, last week we showed escape from the loose triangle, a couple escape options. So what I want to do on this video, first and foremost, so you can practice your triangles, is we're going to talk about how to make a triangle tight and how to readjust. And then I'm going to show you some tips and tricks the following week to escape a triangle that's super, super tight. So I have Eric here with me to be my demo dummy. So we're here in position, and there's many ways to get to a triangle. We're just gonna go with our push-pull. So I'm gonna grab both wrists, and we're gonna go ahead and pop the hips up and get to our loose triangle position. Loose triangle, temporary triangle, whatever you wanna call it. This is where we're kind of using the triangle as a guard, more of a position, versus the submission. We're not there yet for the choke. There's lots of things we can do here. You know, if Eric postures up, we can start coming over for arm bars, right? Anywhere there's a triangle, there's an arm bar, there's an omoplata, we got that hub. So to make this nice and tight for the most ideal triangle possible, I want to get this arm to the other side of my hip. So if Eric's even here initially, which we kind of talked about last week, trying to control my hip with his elbow, which is smart, I need to lift my hips up to kind of drag his arm across. His arm and shoulder are going to be the first piece of the triangle, of the choke against the carotid, along with my hamstring, okay? So what I want to do is lift my hips here. I'm going to lift my hips up, and I'm going to go ahead and grab the wrist and the elbow and bring his arm over to my hip. Okay, it's just going to sit right in the crevice. I set it and forget it. Now, I need to control his posture. He's going to want to posture up. I need to control him with my legs and my arm. So my hand's grabbing the back of his head right on the occipital ridge, and I'm using my elbow to kind of pin his arm in place. This is a really good detail here, okay? I don't want to be loose and he can pull the arm out, right? That's going to make it harder for me to get the choke. So I'm setting it and forgetting it, pinning my elbow right in my hip. It's making it nice and tight for the arm. Now, I can't just let go here and readjust. He's going to pass. I don't care how much I have his posture. My guard's open. That's going to give him opportunity. So you've got to replace the grip. Anytime I take one away, I need to replace. So my hand is going to grab my shin, and then I'm going to put my foot on the hip, ideally, or the mat. So foot on the hip, knee is nice and tight against the shoulder. Now I'm going to go ahead and pivot as I straighten my leg. This is a nice little detail my coach Ilya had talked about, and Jeff, is really kind of pivoting and getting the hamstring flush to the neck. So I need to open up my hamstring so I can then chop it down. Now, you don't want to close the leg on top in a V shape. I want a nice 90 degree angle, so I'm nice and flush to the neck, as I said. But I'm still holding on to my ankle to readjust so he can't pass. So I'm gonna lift up, pivot so I can look at his ear, and I use my hand to like pull his head right into my knee pit. That's what one of my students called it. I had never heard of that. Zach, one of our brown belts, knee pit. I love it. So we're here, and now I can readjust a little more with my foot on the mat. I'm going to come up. I'm going to get the back of my knee on the ankle, pinch, and crunch up. Nice and tight. I was hoping you could still breathe in there. So real quick without Eric, when I am getting or locking the triangle, I want the back of my knee flush on the ankle or shin, okay? Depending on the neck size, it might be a little smaller, right? Or it may be closer to my foot and ankle. Right, but I want that nice lock. I'm pinching the knees together. So my foot flares out, my knees pinch together. I'm gonna grab my knees and I'm gonna crunch up like a ball. A lot of people will say to push away. There's many ways to finish a triangle. This has always worked for me. Pinching and coming up nice and easy. My coach Jeff would always say with the choke, go to about 95% and then ease into the last 5. I don't wanna squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. That's going to allow them breathing time. Something else I really want to make sure you guys understand is in a triangle, the pivot is not a shrink, right? So I'm here, I'm in my position, right, shifting. I do not want to angle out. If I angle to either hip, this is giving Eric the pass, right? Just a free pass. So this is going to be more like an oblique exercise, right? The pivot here, I'm staying on the small of my back, but I'm pivoting, right? That's my angle. To make this tighter, I'm gonna loosen it up just so Eric can breathe. but I can always swim under the arm. I can swim under the leg if he steps this leg up. I can connect, use this as a grip to really keep that angle and get that choke in. Something else that I want to be cautious of, when I'm readjusting, I want to readjust. If this is loose, I've got to readjust. I don't want to tire myself out with a not so good choke. Okay, if it's not there, you've got to readjust. But if Eric, he's going to want to stack me, right? So if he starts stacking, I can use my foot in his hip and shoulder walk back, or the mat. Ideally in a triangle, I want to separate his head from his hips, right? Because he's going to want to try and stack me. So if he's stacking, I need to create that separation, right? I push his hips away, I can readjust, boom, and then I can get the triangle, okay? So hopefully that's helpful for you guys. Questions or comments, drop those below. I'd love to help you out on refining that triangle. And then I'm gonna follow up with some ways to escape. Thanks, Eric. Thanks, guys. Bye.